Ready, Nelson? Good morning, everybody. This is Real Estate Talk, TGIF. My name is Dave Finale, and I am the host, and I am the guy that everybody wants to see with the TGIF. And this broadcast is brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agents Group here in Northern New Jersey. And we've got a very interesting gentleman for us today, someone that I actually ran into on social and did a lot of research and thought about it, and just, I mean, a guy who's an NLP Master, Robert Carbuccia. Robert, thanks so much for coming on today. I appreciate your time as you travel, right?
Yeah. As I traveled, yeah, definitely.
So that's really cool. So anyway, guys, we are going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about NLP. We're going to talk about getting going as a real estate agent. But right now, let's go to the tape. Real estate agents, are you looking to acquire clients consistently to grow your business and income for a great lifestyle? Well, this is Dave Finale, and I'm here to bring you the Real Estate Skill Builder broadcast, Real Estate Talk TGIF, brought to you by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agent team. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dave Finale, Real Estate Talk TGIF. This is episode 274. Yep, it's 271 weeks in a row, more than 5 years. We're really happy with what's been going on. We've had a lot of great guests over our five years plus. And today is no different than that. A great guest, a great individual, Robert Carbuccia, who is an NLP Master practitioner and helps a lot of agents as a master trainer in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. We've talked about this several times over the year on this broadcast with guys like Bill Pipes, who I've studied with, and a lot of different things. But I want to get right into this. And Robert, before we get started, though, and get moving, I do have one question I have to ask you. And I ask everybody the same question. And that question is really simple. What does TGIF stand for?
Thank God it's Friday.
You know, you are so close. You are so close.
Thank God it's finale.
That's it. That is it. You got it. Second chance. I'm gonna give it to you. You got it,
well,
man.
You know what, Dave? I had to do a pattern interrupt, Dave. So listen, if we're gonna talk about NLP, man, we're gonna start with pattern interrupts all the way from the beginning.
Awesome, man. I love that. So let's get down to it, man. I mean, it is Thank God It's Finale, and this Real Estate Talk TGIF is brought to you, as I said, by Real Estate Skill Builder and the Modern Agents here in Northern New Jersey, where we help agents build their business through getting appointments. And that's one of the most important things we need to get is if we're going to do business and make money, we need to get appointments. So we do that regularly on a daily basis. But if you're interested in doing it with us and experiencing what we do, go to the modernagentexperience.com, where we register you to come and join us on a Wednesday. Well, we start at 9 and we finish at 1. And we set appointments. We set more than 1.5 appointments per agent that show up. So anyway, enough of my commercial. Robert, talk to me about how you got to be this NLP Master practitioner and NLP Master. Where did you start? I mean, not everybody says, comes out of high school and says, yep, I'm going to be an NLP Master. Not everybody does that. So I don't know if you did that or not, but talk to me about your journey and where you came from, man.
Yeah, right. Well, imagine if I did that, Dave. Actually,
yeah, I know, right?
If we go on an even deeper esoteric topic, many of us choose our careers like even from the birth without even knowing it. But anyways, for myself, as a real estate agent, I've been in the real estate industry now 20 years. I've been in the roles of leadership, built a team, worked as a solo agent. The thing that created so much passion for me when it came into neuro-linguistic programming were my coaches. My first coach in real estate was Tim Harris Real Estate University. I know he's doing very, very well, him and his wife. And he coached me for about a good 6 to 8 months. We weren't too much into NLP, but I could hear a lot of the NLP techniques that he was using before, back then. And then I switched over to Leora Dabrowski. And she's actually out of Jersey. And Leora, she's a total NLP linguistic master. I mean, she taught me so much about how to set up appointments. She was actually the coach that got me launched in terms of listing one home per week. And for her, just learning how to use language to be able to create rapport and to be able to create the outcome that I was looking for was incredibly powerful. I went from 0 deals in almost an entire year to 1 listing per week. And it almost felt like it was overnight, but it wasn't. And then about a year after that, I started coaching with Ren Jones, the founder of Vulcan 7. And with Ren, this guy is just, I would consider him like a Jedi master. You know, his way of communicating was so awesome because he taught me how to be a very good listener over the phone as I was lead generating, calling expired listings for sale by owners and center of influence. And he taught me how to use tonality. He taught me how to use pauses. He taught me how to just listen for the pauses that people made on the phone when we were lead generating. And a lot of that was NLP techniques. And he took me from 1 listing per week to 2 to 3 listings per week. So, which got me to 100 listings per year. So for me, my appreciation of NLP on a linguistic side of things came from those 2 coaches. And that's because it made my career get to the next level. So that's on the technical side.
So, you know, I get how the tonality and everything works. But you know, there's a lot of people that will watch this broadcast if they're not watching it live that will ask the question. So this dude got a listing per week, and then he just said to 2 to 3 or 4 listings per week to get him to 100 listings a year. They're not going to want to hear anything about NLP. They're going to want to hear, what the hell did you do, man? How did the lead generate? And here's the next question I want to say. We're broadcasting this in September of 2023, and the market is kind of difficult for a lot of agents. It's difficult for some, not so much. So let's talk a little bit about a difficult and slow market. Would you still be able to do that today, Robert?
Man, I love that question, Dave. You know, that's like one of those questions of talking to Muhammad Ali back in the days to say, listen, if you were fighting Mike Tyson today, would you be able to beat him? And I think, right? That's what came to my mind. I love
that comparison.
Yeah. And well, here's what I can tell you, man. Can I do it today? 100%. But I would do it differently. And the way I would do it differently, because back then, real estate agents weren't investing as much into their skills as it's become a popular thing now. And it's still, I don't know what the percentages are, but here's what I do know is that with back in the days, there wasn't as many restrictions as there are today in terms of picking up the phone, calling up expired listings, calling up for sale by owners. I know the Northeast got hit really hard, you know, at least in New York City with all these restrictions. But today, you know, back then I used the triple dialer. So I was using Mojo Dialer. I used the tools to be able to get me the number of people that I needed to get to on the phone. And if I were to do that today, and anybody who's listening, I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to say. If I were to do the same thing today, in which I believe I could, and I'm pretty confident that I can, my number one focus would be is going through my entire database of sphere of influence, which I didn't do back then. My sphere of influence, I just really didn't care too much about them. I was one of those burn and churn type of agents. You know, if I got an appointment, I just got an appointment. Right. But today, I would focus on my sphere of influence. That's number one. Number two, I would focus on expired listings, and I would expand my territory. Because I think what's happened is a lot of agents are afraid to expand outside of their borders. And that's what I would do. So that means if I needed to travel to hit my numbers, because again, this is about me hitting my numbers outside of my quote unquote area or my farm, then I would be willing to do so. And that's what I would have to do until I built the momentum, because all of this is a momentum game. That's literally what it is. So for me, I didn't set up an appointment every single day, even though my goal was 1 appointment a day. But there were weeks where I didn't set up an appointment. However, because I was playing the game of numbers, there were weeks where people would call me, which is like a miracle, but I built the momentum. And then there were people who were ready to list and sell real estate at that time. So keeping the momentum going and understanding that this is a momentum game and you're putting, people into the funnel, you're building up your database. Eventually it'll accumulate and it'll pop. Next thing you know, you'll take 4 or 5 listings in 1 week.
So, I mean, there's a lot there for me to really hit. And number one, I want to thank you for everything you just said, because if the people I work with heard this, or when they do hear it, they're going to say, that's Dave, right? Because it is a momentum game. What do you mean, Dave? I don't get any calls. Why do I keep calling them, right? You got to keep calling every day. You have to make sure you have, like, this is like, I keep telling people, correct me if I'm wrong, if you got a 9 to 5 job, you're supposed to start working at 9, you might have a lunch break, but you leave, you finish working at 5 and you leave after you clean everything up. So why can't we just have agents? And what do you think the reason is that they don't do the, for us, we look at 10 to 1 or 9 to 12 as that window to set appointments. The first question is going to be is, what holds people back from doing the work?
Mindset. That's number one.
Got to go deeper for me, because mindset, I can see that all day long.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the number one things that holds people back is their mindset. Let me break it down for you, Dave. I'll unpack it. I'm sure many of us have heard point FAR, they call it, right? PTFAR, right? Programming leads to thoughts, which lead to feelings, which lead to actions, which lead to results. First person I heard it from was Bob Proctor. And Bob Proctor, incredible teacher, incredible inspirational speaker. And then from there, I've heard it in different trainings, communicated in other ways. So when you look at it, Dave, our programming leads to our thoughts, which leads to how we feel, which leads to our actions, and then it leads to our results. So if you look at actions, why is it that people don't take the actions that they need to take to get the results that they want? Then we have to backtrack a little bit, which is, what are their thoughts? And then from there, since their thoughts are the things that are holding them back, and their feelings about the actions they're about to take, then that's where I refer to in terms of mindset. Because oftentimes people are more worried about the rejection, they're more worried about failing, they're more worried about fear of success, or they're more worried about things that are probably not even going to happen at all, that it creates a paralysis, right? And a paralysis of analysis. And I think that many real estate agents oftentimes, and even for myself, because I'll share the story with you in a little bit, where mindset came into play. Many of us have an unconscious fear of taking things to that next level. Many of us have an unconscious fear of what's about to happen that in reality may not even happen at all, and we just need to get into action. So mindset, I would say, is the number one challenge with any business owner, any entrepreneur, but especially in this real estate industry.
Okay. So I get it now. I understand it now. Because honestly, transparency here with me it's one of my things that I work on, and I'm working on more and more every day, is my mindset, which is my past programming to my thoughts and my fear, right? I have it every day, just like everybody else does, but I'm consciously working on it. I think it's important for people to consciously work on what's getting in the way. A lot of them, I mean, look, I would always say, first thing you got to do is pick up the phone that weighs about 700 pounds. Then you got to what we used to call dialing, because we actually knew what dialing was. You push in the phone, and then you put the phone to your ear, and all you say to yourself is, please voicemail, right? So what I'm doing here, what we've been able to do, Robert, is we've been able to get people in our experience to actually say, answer the phone, come on, answer the damn phone. So it's like kind of like a reverse thought process we try to put in. So I want to get to the other two things that you mentioned, where focus on your sphere of influence. Another question, which is really important: why don't the majority of agents do this?
Yeah,
I'm asking a lot of why don't questions. I get it, but I mean, I don't understand it yet.
Yeah, I think a lot of agents, the number one reason I hear from a lot of agents is why they don't call their sphere of influence is because they're actually projecting themselves onto their sphere of influence. So here's what I mean by that. Here's a NLP, we call this a distinction, right? Perception is projection. So whatever we perceive, that's what we project. And since most of us hate getting that cold call, most of us hate getting the telemarketing call, most of us hate being interrupted during because we got a call and it's an unregistered phone number, or it might say spam on our cell phone. Since we have this internal dialogue of ourselves that, man, I hate getting those calls, then we start to project that onto our sphere of influence as well, that they might potentially hate getting our call. Because the reality is, if we were calling to bring value to the conversation, then it wouldn't be a big deal because we're being in contribution. But oftentimes we're like, we don't want to call them because we're not bringing value. We're just there to try to see if they can help us know who's looking to buy or sell, or who's looking to list their homes in the next 7 to 10 days. So since we're dealing with that internal dialogue, man, it really holds us back. And here's the one thing that I would say to anybody who's listening to this is that bottom line is this, guys: friends and family, sphere of influence, they know you. They should like you and they should be trusting you. And if they don't, then that's not their fault. That's something that we've created, right? But these are the people that we should be able to have the easiest conversations with. These are the people that we should be able to say, hey, listen, here's the next best trick in real estate. Have you ever thought about owning an Airbnb? Have you ever thought about flipping a property? Have you ever thought about grieving your taxes? Have you ever thought about ... When you do that, man, and you're in contribution, right? As they say, it's better to give than to receive. That's going to put us in this state of mind. That is a state of mind of, number one, abundance, a state of mind of gratitude, a state of mind where people are going to encourage us and inspire us. So if we would just adopt that mindset, Dave, as real estate agents, that we're not cold calling our sphere, we're not nagging our sphere. That's a limiting belief. We are here to love up on our people, man, and to let them know, listen, if you have any needs, I got your back. I got your back, Dave. Dave, you want to make money, Dave? Dave, you want to retire early? Guess what, Dave? I've got your back. I'm going to help you buy a multifamily. Right? And if we have that mindset and that attitude, dude, I'm telling you, those calls will be so much easier, so much better, so much more fulfilling.
No question about that. I mean, first of all, I think that the biggest myth when it comes to the sphere of influence is that they don't want to talk to you. I think that's the number one myth. The second myth is not the myth, but they want to support you, but they really don't know how. So it's up to us to tell them how. Not in a saying, hey, look, this is how you support me. No, it's being yourself to the people you know. I mean, they want you to do well. And if they don't, well, you take them off that list. And, I don't care if they're your mother or your father, you take them off that list if they don't want you to do well,
Right.
So expanding territory, you also talked about with expired listings and stuff. And I think that was, I remember when I had my brokerage, it was like, oh, that's too far. That's too far for me to go. One of the problems is we didn't look with the internet today. Everybody's a neighbor. There's no question about that. And it's easy for us to get the information that we need today. I'm going to tell you and submit to you that 15, 20 years ago, for us in northern New Jersey, to get a listing 50 miles away was not something that I recommended as a broker owner because we didn't know the area. Today, I say, I don't care where you list. You've got a license in the state of New Jersey, list it down in Cape May because we're, 120, 150 miles away. I don't care. Just as long as you service it properly, we can get the info we need. Right? And when the seller says, well, what do you know about my area where, you're not local? And my question would always be, and correct me if or give me another one if you don't like this one, is, well, where do you want your buyer to come from?
Right? No, I think that's a great answer. Usually when somebody says to me as well, just to add to it, right? Because we're here to to contribute to our audience and to be able to add more and more value, I would say, so it sounds like to me that you want to have somebody that can create convenience, right? Easy communication and easy access that will make sure that your home gets showed consistently and it gets sold within the time that you want. Is that correct? Yes. Excellent. I'm so glad that we're talking. When's a good time for us to meet? I have some time today at 3 or tomorrow at 4, right? So that's a level shifting technique.
Right.
And level shifting is just grabbing whatever situation that we have that the person presents and then just create a new reality for them by highlighting exactly what it is that they want. And the moment we shift the conversation that way, then that's what they start to focus on. It's like it's a form of reframing. But that's how I would do it, Dave. I mean, yeah, these days there's no reason for us to just stick to our 5-mile radius.
Right, exactly. I mean, look at it this way. I mean, there's a great system we use for sale by owners, and it's asks you want a 5-mile, 10-mile, or 15-mile radius. And with the way things are today, you know, I'd get 25 miles if I could, right? The only problem with where I'm at is I get half New York and half New Jersey, so because of where I'm at. But that's beside the point. Okay, so I want to talk about using language to get a listing a week. You said that earlier, and of course, when we talk about NLP and we talk about having conversations. I mean, today I'm working with one of my agents today, and we're talking about the listing presentation. And in every listing presentation I'm working with, there's 3 different ones I'm using, and I'm going to be right out say who it is. It's Mike Ferry's. Bill Pipes from Sales Mastery, who was Mike Ferry's student, who has taken a lot of Mike Ferry's stuff and contemporized it, and then Kevin Ward. Mike has not been on the broadcast; everybody else has, and Tim Harris has been on the broadcast as well. So, but we talk about pauses. They're written into the scripts. We're working on the script. We're working on the listing presentation, which I believe is very, very key for agents to know first, because they've got a knowledge of what they want to say when they get to meet them in person, and then they get on the phone, and they're not going to worry about what they're going to say there. Maybe it's psychological. What do you think about that before I get to the next question?
I think, I mean, in terms of like listing presentation and everything else, there was one thing that we always used to say, and even Mike had mentioned this, because I was MFO trained as well for 8 years, and he would say, listen, it's showtime, right? It's showtime. You know, you have your anchor, you're firing off your anchor. Hey, it's showtime. So the bottom line is this: if you treat real estate as if you were a Broadway performer, and when you're a Broadway performer, these guys, they rehearse every single day for hours and hours and hours and hours to do a 1-hour performance or a 2-hour performance.
Right.
But they're rehearsing immeasurably more than they are performing. Same thing with football, right? Thank God it's football season. I'm so excited. Let's go Giants, right? Hey, listen, and I love the Jets too. So I always send positive vibes to the Jets. But if you look at it, I had heard one time, Dave, that the average football game, or just the football game itself, is 16 minutes. You know, in terms of hitting and running and everything, just the action is 16 minutes. But if you ever jump on a Sunday or on a Monday night football game, man, you're sitting in front of that TV, bro, for like 2 hours, an hour and a half. But it's 16 minutes. And in addition to that, those guys practice every single day, hours upon hours, where they even have a season to practice, you know? So what's my whole point? My whole point is, listen, the more you learn, the more you earn. And in addition to that, if you're really good at practicing your scripts and you practice it to have success, the moment you walk in that door for that listing presentation and you fire off your anchor, for me, it was Back in Black. I was sitting in the car 15 minutes before I went to the door, by AC/DC. If those of you guys don't know Back in Black, it's a great song. and that would get me so pumped, dude. And the moment I got to that door, it's like, hey, what's going on? I'm so excited about getting your home on the market and getting it sold. Boom. I'm pre-framing the presentation. I'm pre-framing the conversation. I'm already dropping the embedded commands. And the reason I'm so passionate about breaking it down for you guys is because every single script that you guys have been reading that is incredibly successful is NLP based, guys.
It sure is.
Yeah, Dave, it's all NLP based, brother.
It all is. When we list your home for sale, it's like the
Right.
pauses, right? So that's where we're going. It's a great segue. So we're talking about tonality, we're talking about pauses, right? And we're talking about the embedded commands. Explain what an embedded command is, Robert, please.
Yeah, so if you look at an embedded command, if you think about it back in the days when, some of the guys that are probably watching, they're like in their early 20s or something, but back in the days for you and I, Dave, we'd sit there in the movie theater and we're watching a movie, and then next thing you know, it flashes on the screen and says, get a Coke, right? Get some popcorn. And then from there, the movie would keep going, right? So that's an embedded command. And the key with an embedded command is that on an unconscious level, your mind receives it as an instruction to get out and do something.
Right.
But it happens on such an unconscious level. And here's the one thing, unless you are in 100% rapport with the person, embedded commands don't work. So that's the other key thing. And that falls into the world of hypnosis. So which is why tonality, rate of speech, right? Pauses, rate of speech, pauses, and tonalities. As time goes on, as you're doing your presentation, you're actually putting the client, and I'm speaking frankly here, bro. Is that okay? Can I just speak
go
frankly?
ahead, please.
So what you're doing is you're putting the person into a state of trance. So when you're putting that person into a state of trance because they're listening to you, they're comfortable with you. Even right now, as people are watching me, they're listening to me, they're listening to my tone of voice, they're listening to my rate of speech. They're actually falling into a little bit of a trance with my voice and with what you're saying. So the moment that we drop an embedded command, then they're going to think in their mind, you know what, I need to go and register now, or I need to go and set an appointment, or I need to go and sign the contract, because that stays on an unconscious level. So that's why all these things work so well. So embedded commands, they're more powerful when you have the pause before, then the embedded command, and then the pause afterwards, because we all listen differently. So that's how embedded commands work. So
we're talking about neuro-linguistic programming, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
there's a thought out there, and I want to play a little devil's advocate here.
Yeah, let's do it.
So there's a thought out there, and there's a book written called The Unsold Mindset, which I love. I've read it 3 times, and it talks about this mirroring and matching, and NLP is an unfair sales technique. How would you respond to that?
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if unfair. I think that's a great hook. That's what I would say. That's a great hook to get somebody to buy the book. I think unfair. Yeah, I wouldn't even get caught up in the unfair. Here's what I would say. I would say that NLP is the true manual for how to really structure your life for success, because it carries all the best practices. And if you truly engage into it, if you truly give it an opportunity to learn from all these different NLP techniques, then yeah, you will have an unfair advantage. But that advantage has only been created by the person that's willing to do it, not by anything else.
Would you say that using NLP is more in line of building that relationship, building that rapport to get to the opportunity to really help the potential customer client out? Wouldn't you say that it's an avenue?
Yeah, I would say NLP is just an opportunity to learn how to be somebody that's a great communicator. You know, NLP is Listen, our kids use NLP on us all the time. My daughter is a master NLP practitioner when she was 4 years old. I mean, she could pretty much get me to do anything. You know what I mean? It's like, how does she do it? She would close me 7 times. You know, how did she do it? Her eyes would get watery like Puss in Boots in the cartoons, right? Her eyes would get big and watery when she wanted something. So she implemented auditory, visual, and kinesthetic techniques. And you know what? As a dad, my heart would melt, babe. So would I say that my daughter is using NLP with me on an unfair advantage? No, the moment she got the ice cream that she wanted, boom, she was happy. She was happy. I'm happy. That's it. At the end of the day, nobody really cares because we love one another because we trust each other. So there's a few things in that little metaphor is that NLP is a really good way to build trust with people. That's number one. NLP is a really good way to help everybody get a win-win. Everybody get what it is that they want. Because if I could come into a conversation, Dave, and my conversation is, what can I do to create a win-win for Dave? And what can I create a win-win for myself? There's nothing wrong with having a win-win, man, right? A win-lose is a lose-lose. And if people don't understand that concept, that's a whole nother conversation. So it's about win-win. If I'm at your home, Dave, to list your home, then how do I make this a win-win? Well, I need to be intentional about this. What does that mean? I need to know how to build rapport with you. Because the moment that I'm building rapport with you, then you will know me, you will like me, and you will trust me. And then from there, my ultimate goal is, what can I do, Dave, to help you get what you want? Because if I can help Dave get what he wants, then at the end of the day, they're going to sign the contract with me. And what am I going to get? What I want, which is to get hired and to get a paycheck, because I got to support my family. I have a responsibility to my family. And that's the whole cycle. But using neuro-linguistic programming techniques and methods, it accelerates. It's the shortcut. And it is, it is like an unfair advantage.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing that's really important is NLP will allow you to break down the barriers of the roadblock that a for sale by owner got up and an expired has up. More for sale by owners, I think, in my opinion, because, let's face it, there's 2 reasons why people sell the homes on their own. One is commission. As 2 is, there's just, I'm a do-it-yourselfer, right? I do as much as I can. I used to do a lot more, but they want that feeling of doing it themselves. I did it myself, right? I did that. I sold my house myself. I fixed my toilet myself. I renovated my kitchen myself, right? They want to be able to say that. There's an ego boost there for do-it-yourself. Don't know if anybody's ever put it that way before, but I believe that the wall that they put up and don't want to talk to real estate agents has to be knocked down. Now, you can either knock it down by dripping on them, right, which we all know that phrase, or by using, NLP and talking to them in a way to knock the wall down to get them to want to talk to you. So you're building, I think it's more building a relationship than anything else. And that's exactly what it allows you to do quicker, as you just said, right?
Yeah, it's building a relationship. It's creating a win-win. Hey, listen, Dave, if you want to sell the home yourself, fantastic, right? My ultimate goal is to help you get what you want in the time that you want. Isn't that what you want? Absolutely, right? So that's the ultimate goal. And here's the thing: the more schooled you are in this field, the more you understand that there's some things that work for some people and things that don't work for other people. For example, some people like to hear all the details, and some people like to hear the bigger picture, right? That's chunked up and chunked down. So far, even Dave and us talking, I love how detailed you like to be because it's important for us to unpack things, right? So what I'm going to do, let's pretend that I'm role playing and I'm setting up a physical appointment with you. Then I would say, Dave, what are the most important things for you in terms of getting your home sold right now? Top 3 things.
Top 3 things?
If you were selling by owner.
So the top three things for me selling my home it would be not to pay a commission, to get the highest price, and just get it done quickly.
Exactly. And Dave, you know what? You sound like a very hardworking man, because anybody that puts their time and effort into wanting to sell the home themselves, there has to be something that they're getting in for themselves. What is it that you're getting for yourself by doing this? I know you want all those three things.
I've done it myself. I've done everything myself over the years, and that's just how I've done everything. Rarely do I hire anybody to do anything for me.
Exactly. And here's the thing: would you build a house without a hammer, Dave?
Of course not.
Yeah, of course not. Right? You look at me like, "What the hell's this guy talking about?" But
exactly.
It's the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing, Dave. I'm here to simply be a tool for you to help you build your house, or even help you sell your home. And here's the beauty of it, is that you get to use me however you want to use me, and however long you want to use me for.
I mean, I don't want to pay a commission, though. I mean, why are we having this conversation?
You know what? That's a great point. And many of my clients that have worked with me that are in your shoes, that are do-it-yourselfers, say the same exact thing to me. And here's what I'll do. I'll make sure that with the sale of the home, my commission is already included to where the buyer gets to pay the commission, so that this way you can walk away with the most amount of money. Does that make sense?
How do you do that?
That's a great question. All we have to do is sit down for about 15 to 20 minutes, and I'll show you exactly what I do differently than the other agents. I have some time today at 3 or tomorrow at 4. Either way is fine.
All right, let's do tomorrow at 4.
Perfect. And that's it. So, appointment booked.
So there's some things that I would like everybody to notice of how you discussed it and stuff. It's basically if you said anything, if you made any statements, it was the benefit of what you were trying to get with the questions you were asking, for basically to discover what they wanted. But you just used what they said and what you were saying in statements and questions. Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah.
So it's really important, and I want to talk about tone there as well. We don't sound like a robot. We don't sound like we're reading from a script, right? There was enough pause in there to get your home sold. There was enough pause in there to relate to the for sale by owner about what they wanted to do and what they were trying to accomplish on their own. You used a hammer as an example. Then you used the word tools. So you worked it all together, and how it all came together was, the guy who's a do-it-yourselfer knows about tools, right? And he also knows that if he's got to use a hammer to hammer in a nail rather than a screwdriver to hammer in a nail. So that was genius the way you did that. Thank you for that. And if anybody has any questions on that, let us know. You can actually comment if you want to. And if you have any questions after, we're going to put up Robert's contact information in a second. So let's talk about this is really excellent stuff, because the reason I ask for details, Robert, is that a lot of people say, well, you got to do this, and this, and they don't explain it, right? One of the great things I love about the company I work with and doing these broadcasts is that I'm able to get details. I've always been asked for details, and I've never been really good at it. I'm trying to get better at that. But the thing is that you can go to conferences, and you can go to events, and you can go to seminars, and you're just going to get the surface. You're not going to get the detail. And that was always my problem with the conferences and conventions I went to until a couple of years ago. So I want to thank you for being detail-oriented with what we're talking about. And one other thing you said, we talked about focusing with your sphere of influence and then expired listings. Is there a reason you went to expireds and not for sale by owner?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all a matter of what's going on in the market at the time, right? So for me, I got my license in 2004 in New York, and by the time it hit 2005, 6, and 7, pretty much towards the end of 2005, that's when the market started to shift and prices started to come down. So the terminology of short sales started to come about, which I didn't realize short sales was anything until my coach had brought it up to me. So expired listings, that was the way to go because the market was going down and homes were just not selling. So I think it all depends on the market, what the market is saying at that time. Because I've seen it before where there were hardly any expired listings on the market, where I've had to expand my territory like 50 miles, to try to find some expired listings or adjust the price range. So it all depends on the market.
It does. Yeah. We do have some expireds now. We were actually have one guy that works on them every day. And he does very well. Before I get to the question about transformational coaching and stuff, I want to get into one other question. And it was something you said, quickly before. You said it a couple of times. You said the phrase "hit my numbers," right? And I want people to understand that they need to track everything they are doing. This way you understand how many calls it takes you to get a contact, how many contacts it takes you to get an appointment, how many appointments it takes you to get a listing, how many listings it takes you to get a closing. And hit my numbers. Briefly, if you would, talk about what your numbers were and what you had to do to hit your numbers. What was that goal? What were the exact numbers? Or give me a concept on that.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I mean, my coach at the time, Ren, he says, and let me even backtrack a little bit further. When I talked to Leora Dabrowski, I said to, I would tell her, she's like, Rob, how come you're not getting any listings, dude? You're contacting so many people. I would contact almost at one point. I was contacting about 400 to 500 people per month, and I couldn't get an appointment or I couldn't get a listing. I mean, it was horrible. And bottom line is, she would listen to me, and she would say, Rob, how come you're not getting appointments? And I would say to her, Leora, I'm getting appointments. I can get appointments. I just can't convert them. People love talking to me on the phone. People will just go ahead and set up the appointment. Not a big deal. And she would say, why can't you convert them? What's going on? Are you pre-qualifying them? And I said, pre-qualifying? What are you talking about pre-qualifying? And she says, are you pre-qualifying them? The pre-qualification script. And I was like, oh, yeah, that piece of paper, that's too long. It's too many questions. Every time I ask them those questions, they hang up the phone on me. And she said to me, listen, dude, you do not leave your house or you do not leave your apartment, your office, unless you go through every single question on the pre-qualification script. And she made me write in the answers, Dave. I would have to write in the answers after each question. And she made me, Dave, fax to her the written answers before I went on an appointment. So I had to fax it to her back then. and that was the only way I was able to leave my office to go on a listing appointment. And that small piece right there flipped the switch, where it was like, okay, boom, I was taking one listing per week because I pre-qualified them. So that's the secret recipe number one right there. Number two, in terms of numbers, when I got together with Ren was like saying the same thing. He's like, dude, you're good on the phone, man. You can talk with people. You can connect with people. But now let's go for 2 listings a week. And I was like, 2. So then hence the mindset, right? And then let's go for 3, hence the mindset. So I had to have a mindset shift, and we can drop that nugget a little bit later. But bottom line is this. He says, Rob, if you set up 1 appointment per day, you can do anything you want with the rest of the day. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, 1 appointment. So for me, I enjoy playing golf. So if I set up 1 appointment, then Dave, that means we get to go play golf in the afternoon, brother. It's like, I'm like, really? I'll do that. So every morning when I would get on the phone, my intention, my mindset, my conversation was so intense and so focused because I had to get an appointment because I wanted the rest of the day off. I wanted the rest of the day for myself. So that means when I got you on the phone, it wasn't, hey, my name is Rob, I'm calling from, I just rattling through it. My intention became that every call I made needed to be an appointment. That's it. The reason I call to make contacts is for the purpose of appointments. It's not for the purpose of going through numbers. It's for the purpose of setting an appointment.
Okay.
So if we do the math, go ahead. You had a question?
So yeah, I do, because so many people are getting so many different kinds of appointments. Can I come and preview? Can I come and preview your home? Do you have any buyers? Yes, I got a buyer, but I don't know if they want. I need to see the home. Say, could I just come over and talk to you about strategies, the way I would use to sell your home? Are those appointments, those types of appointments, still okay to use that pre-qualification call on?
Yeah. Listen, if I'm coming to go preview your home.
Well, if you're just going to preview the home, how can you ask the question, look, when I come over tomorrow, if everything seems okay, are you ready to list the home with me?
Yeah, because here's the thing. The script itself, the first script, and script that you use to get the appointment, that's not a script to get an appointment. It's a script to build rapport and build relationship. That's what that script is for. It's so that you can feel comfortable with them and they feel comfortable with you. And the moment they give you an appointment, bro, you know what they said? They said, Dave, it's okay, man, if you buy me a drink. That's what they just said. That's what the whole first part of the script is. So whether your script is 20 questions or 3 questions or 4 questions, it doesn't matter. It's how easily and effortlessly can you create rapport with a person on the phone to the point that they'll set up an appointment with you. Then the real work starts. The real listing presentation starts when you do the pre-qualification script. So, David, what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home. Are you planning to list your home with me when I see you Tuesday at 4 p.m.? Pause. You say nothing after that.
STFU. So,
and at that point, yeah.
You're going to do this on the same call, or is this a second call? Or it doesn't matter?
Same call right after, directly right after. Hey, Dave, you got a couple of minutes? I just got a couple of questions to ask you, man. I want to make sure I'm fully prepared when I see you on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Is that okay? And,
yes.
And if I phrase it that way, then usually the person's like, okay, great. So, Dave, what I say makes sense. And you feel comfortable and you feel confident, Dave, that I can sell your home. Are you planning to list your home with me when I see you Tuesday at 4 p.m.? Downswing at the end.
You told me how you had a buyer. This wasn't about listing. What's up?
Yeah, that's fantastic. I have buyers that are looking to purchase in the area. And I'm just going to ask you the question one more time. If what I say makes sense, Dave, and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning to list your home with me when I see you Tuesday at 4 p.m.?
I don't plan to list with anybody.
Okay, I can appreciate that. So, Dave, what price did you want to list your home for realistically?
That'd be $560.
$560. And how did you determine that sales price, Dave?
I looked on Zillow and I got some friends we talked to. That's how I came up with it.
Okay, well, I can appreciate that. Well, Dave, I study homes and prices every single day. So therefore, I assume that if you were to list your home with me, that you would list it for a price that would cause your home to sell. Is that correct?
But I'm not listing. So I mean, it is what it is.
I can appreciate that. So what price won't you go below, Dave?
I'm not going below $560.
And Dave, let me ask you this, because I work with a lot of cash buyers. If a cash buyer comes along, which I work with, and they make you an offer for $450,000, all cash, no contingencies, close in 2 weeks, would you take it?
Did you say 450?
Yeah, 450, man.
That's insulting.
Yeah. Well, would you take it?
No.
Okay, so what would be your counteroffer, Dave?
560.
560, all cash. Okay, I can appreciate that. And can you tell me a little bit about your home? It's
a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3.5 bath, Center Hall Colonial. We got a half acre of property. Great school system. Great great place to hang out in the house. Got a bar downstairs. Really cool.
Okay, awesome. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being that your house is, like a new construction, and 1 being that I need to bring a priest and do an exorcism on your house, where do you think your house would stand in terms of condition?
8.
An 8? Fantastic. What would make it a 10, Dave?
What would make it a 10? I'm not sure.
Okay, I can appreciate that. And Dave, when I see you on Tuesday at 4, would all decision makers be there?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And is this the best number for me to reach you by any chance, in case I have any questions beforehand?
It is.
Okay, good. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you a package of information before I come out. Is email okay? I have. What's the best email for you?
dfinale@gmail.com.
Perfect. So I'll email you a package of information, and what we'll do is we'll go over that when I see you Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And would you take a moment to review that?
Sure.
Perfect. Did you have any questions for me, Dave, before I see you on Tuesday?
No.
Excellent. I'm so looking forward to see you Tuesday at 4 p.m. Have an amazing day.
Thank you. So this is anybody that watches this and heard that, this is your classic pre-qualification script, which is fantastic because what it does, and correct me if I'm wrong, it tells you any objections that they're going to have before you get there. And that should be the focus of your presentation, right?
Yeah.
I want to throw one other thing out there that I would do, and I do now, is my presentation that I'm going to send them by email. I'm using HighNote. Are you familiar with HighNote?
No, I never heard of it.
HighNote is an application where you can put everything. I mean, you can put brochures, you can put your presentation, you can put video, you can put everything. It's one link, and everything is in the link, like just one huge presentation. Great thing about it is it's got analytics on it, so you know what they looked at. Is I put a copy of the listing document, the disclosure document. I put it all in there so they see everything. It's a great thing. Look, man, I want to thank you for going through that, because that is the number one key. You just gave the secret, which
I know.
But here's the thing: it's always like my argument and my conversation with newer agents and people doing this appointment setting is, well, you're going, once you say you got a buyer and you don't, you're in the friend zone. So sometimes you're not allowed to ask them about the listing. But if you're doing the pre-qual call right after that, it takes everything out of the way, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever, and notice when we were doing that, I was not looking at you. I did that on purpose, because I think when you role played, you're on the phone, you shouldn't be looking at the person, right? I don't know. That's just the way I do it.
No, because it's an auditory practice.
Right. Okay. So, what would you say? Is it okay? So we did that pre-qual call, and we got the appointment and everything. So and then you go through your presentation, and that's fine. Great. So I want everybody to realize that this is a simple practice, and the key to conversion. We're all getting appointments. We get appointments to the tune of 1.5 to 2 appointments per agent per our session of the Modern Agent Experience, right? This week we had 5 agents. We got 8 appointments. Okay. So that's a small sampling of what we did this week. Last week was 13 agents. We got 29 appointments. We did really well. Anyway, the point I'm making is the conversion is the important part. We might not have an appointment problem anymore, but we might have a conversion problem. So That being said, thanks for doing that. I want to get into the coaching that you're more involved with, which is transformational coaching, transform coaching. Talk to me about that, Robert, because I'm really intrigued by it. It's really cool. Go ahead, talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. Before I jump into the transform part, do I have time to just unpack real quick some nuggets within the pre-qualification script?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So a couple of things that I noticed, Dave, as we were role playing, and when anybody is doing the pre-qualification script, The reason I asked the questions about the 560 price, what price won't you go below? The reason I said 450,000 as a counter offer from a cash buyer is because I want to be able to see how far I can push you as a seller and where your motivation is. And I would rather do a pattern interrupt and have you be extremely pissed off with me over the phone now than when we get to the presentation itself. So all that is to put you into that state of mind where it's like, hey, look, 450 all cash offer, at least it tells me. And the moment that I say, Dave, what price would you counter offer? Some people would say 500,000. So now at least I have a frame of reference as to where you are willing to go in your pricing. That's number one. Number two, oftentimes when we ask the question, tell me a little bit about your home, right? You went into very many details about the home, specific things. Some people say it's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, big backyard, and clean house. What else you want to know, right? So that's that driver personality style. So on your end, you could be analytical driver, right? Or driver analytical. So that means that my presentation needs to be catered towards someone who fits that disc profile. So this is where this script is so powerful, because now you've given me more information than I need to be able to come into a listing presentation fully prepared. And all that comes from the NLP training as well too. I just wanted to unpack that for people, because I think people sometimes think that the pre-qualification script is just a waste of time, where it's like, no, it's there to give you information that's very valuable.
So Robert, if I was if the question would be, how much does that increase your chances of getting the listing using that pre-qualification process?
I mean, I went from 0 to 100. I mean, basically, it increases your chances. My conversion ratios were about 90, 97, 98% conversion ratio. Just about every appointment I went on was a conversion. Now, here's the thing. There were appointments that I didn't go on as well too. So based on the prior conversation that you and I would have had before the pre-qual, it would tell me your motivation. So I may decide not to go on that presentation, so that this way I don't waste my time. It all depends what your motivation was. But it definitely increased my chances, because I spent my time working with people that I know had a high motivation to sell. And when I say high, anything close to a 7, between a 7 and a 10 in my book is a higher motivation.
So on a scale of how many times a week did you play golf?
I played golf actually sometimes maybe 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, 2 to 3 times.
You got the appointments. All right. So let's thank you for that, and thank you for unpacking those answers and those questions. I'm really interested in the golf part. Sorry, it's just the sickness with me.
I hear you, man.
Transformational coaching. Talk to me about that. It's one of the things you specialize in, and to me, it is so very cool. And I understand it before I even know about it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So for me, transformational coaching, what I realize is, as you and I were talking the other day, that the moment the market shifted, and things were going in a direction where I was like, what, this business for me in terms of listing and selling real estate, there was something that I felt personally was missing for myself. And I started getting into the coaching side of the business, right? Because I feel like many top producers, agents are always coming up to them. You're on panels. They're always asking you questions. And listen, I love people. I see the best in people as much as possible. Yeah, can people be frustrating at times? Of course, that's just who we are. But I've always wanted to be in contribution, but not at the point where it would cause me to suffer financially. So I said, you know what, let me see what would it look like for me to coach and train agents, because one of the things that kept me, Dave, from really being a great producer in my first year of real estate, which I only sold one house in my first year of real estate, was that my mindset was, after I got a $16,000 commission check, if I continue to sell homes at this rate, I'm going to make more money than the average friend that I am friends with. So most of my friends were making about $40,000 to $50,000 a year in income. And here I am. If I close one property per month, then Dave, I'm going to be making $50,000 within the next 4 to 5 months, if not more. That was my mindset holdback from pushing the limit and being successful. So I had unconscious fear of success. And through coaching and through transformational coaching and unpacking where my emotions were, unpacking where my limiting beliefs were, that's what flipped the switch for me to go from one listing, 0 listings, 0 deals, 1 deal in 1 year to 1 listing per week. And even when Ren would coach me in terms of taking me to 2 listings or 3 listings per week, I had the limiting belief of, hey, can I really do this? Do I deserve this? And that was all a mindset conversation. And he coached me through it. I remember him recommending the book Atlas Shrugged to me, saying, hey, look, man, read this book, connect with this book. And he gave me lots of other references as well, too. So I noticed that my limitations, man, came from my mindset. And the more I worked on my mindset, the more I was able to do business and have a more fulfilling life. But in addition to that, when I coach agents now, oftentimes I can tell them, just like you and I just did, right? We just gave everybody the secrets, man. We just gave everybody the keys to the combination to open up the safe that's right across the street, and it has $1 million in it. But you know what? Yes. Most of the people watching this, brother, will not do anything because their mindset is stuck in excuses or reasons, or is stuck in some sort of limiting story. So before I started coaching any agent on a one-on-one level, I said, I need to do mindset work with you first. And that's what I call breakthrough coaching. And by doing that, my agents that I coach, they would go from whether it was 3 million, 4 million in sales volume to 45 million in sales volume within 1 to 2 years, because they gave themselves the permission to be successful. Because there's so much programming, brother, that money doesn't grow on trees, right? That programming that money doesn't grow on trees, that programming that there's a world of scarcity is so strong in our society that people, the moment they start to do something really, really well and start making money, they feel like they're cheating and they feel like they're doing something wrong. And then therefore, to fit within the mold, to fit within the way everyone else is, they start adjusting themselves down and they play a smaller game. So when I do the coaching with them, it's like, no, we're here to release the shackles, the mental shackles that we have from childhood, so that you can truly, truly live an amazing life. And that's pretty much it, dude. That's it in a nutshell. So that's what got me more into transformational coaching, was my experience, my limiting beliefs, and me seeing it in other agents, and now helping agents overcome their limiting beliefs so that they can do well.
It's so very interesting what you're talking about, because my biggest thing that I've worked on is trying to understand why we don't do it. I mean, some people will call agents lazy, right? And I don't think it's really that. I really don't think it is. Of course, when I had my brokerage, I figured out, and the reason I didn't do that anymore, walked away from that 6 years ago, was because I didn't want to work with people that didn't want to work. Now I realize they didn't know how to work. They didn't know how to get through that roadblock that they had here. And it is from their past, their growing up, whatever it is, right? Look, we all have our own shit. And I think that's the most important thing and that mankind has to deal with, not just you and me, but shit. I mean, we've all had our own stuff go through, and it promotes our limiting beliefs that, well, you know what, I've got to take care of this thing before I can do that thing. And this person needs my help. We all turn out to be helpers and not doers. And that's one of the reasons we don't get into action,
right?
Which is the whole thing. you know, and one of the things in your bio talked about many of your clients are in the 40 to 55-year-old range. And to me, after this conversation, and the other day, it makes complete sense because those are, to me, people talking about midlife crisis. I talk about stuck life crisis, right? All this shit is coming at you when you want to do this and you want to do that, and you look back and say, "Holy shit, I didn't do what I wanted to do yet." You know, with me personally, being where I am in life, I know I got more years behind me than I got in front of me. And I know damn well that the ones in front of me, they're going to be filled with smiles. No more bullshit. And I would say that to anyone watching this, please, no more bullshit. Smile. If you need help, contact Rob. His number is on the screen. There is his Instagram. What would be the one most important thing of advice, Robert, that you would give to an agent now that was struggling?
I would say, to an agent now that is struggling, regardless of production level, regardless of years in the business, I would say, listen, what is it that inspires you? What motivates you? What gets you going? Because I think sometimes, here's the thing, Dave, my success came from a strategy that was an away strategy. And when I say away strategy, it's like bottom line is some people, they are running away from poverty. They are running away from pain, right? The pain of not succeeding is what drives them to do their job. However, after a while, that pain starts to die out and it's no longer as effective. I would say if you're doing this business because you're running away from something, whether it's running away from the corporate job, running away from poverty, running away from whatever it is, switch your strategy to what are you moving towards? When you start moving towards something, it's more sustainable. It's more enjoyable. It's more inspirational. And there's something that I've been hearing, man, in the last few years, which I think is like, in my opinion, it's like bullshit doctrine that's been put out there that people, everybody's saying, oh, I want to do what inspires me. I want to do what makes me happy. I want to work in my love zone. And people are poo-pooing that concept where I'm like, no, motherfucker, excuse my language. Start doing what you're passionate about. If you're passionate, man, about playing the piano, if you're passionate about being a musician, then start doing the things that make you happy. Because the moment you start having a conversation about real estate, you're coming from a happy state. You're coming from a state of empowerment. And that's the thing, man. I think there is something working in your passion and your love zone. Everybody has the right to do that as a human being. Everybody, work is it's associated with almost a mindset of poverty with some people. So that's my whole thing. It's like, listen, start functioning in your strength zone. If you're really good at making calls, then perfect that skill. If you're really good at seeing people in person, then perfect that skill. If you're really good at holding parties, then perfect that skill. Hold some big parties and get better at it. And I guarantee you will get some business out of it. If you do it the right way.
I want to take that and just could take one step further about feeling and mindset and stuff. And people who know me, who have seen me speak, who've been to our Wednesday experience sessions, know what I say. People talk about what is it? Act like a fourth grader. Dance like no one's watching, right? I say, yeah, I like that, but I'm going to do it one better. And this is what I aspire to. I want to act like a 4-year-old because they don't give a shit who's watching.
Exactly.
Right? And that's what I aspire to do. I mean, when I go to the gym and, I'm listening to music, I don't know what I look like. I must look like a nut. I'm not singing out loud. That's for sure. But that's the point. I don't care. I really don't. I'm doing what I got to do and whatever it is. So, I mean, with that note, I just want to thank you, Robert, so much. I want to tell you that you have broken a record of the longest broadcast, which I am like excited about. I am actually going to be sending a copy of the link to this broadcast to everyone that I work with because they need to watch it because it's what I say all the time. Not to your detail, right? So I just got a couple of quick things, Robert, and then we can sail off into the sunset. The first question, that first thing of those last couple of things is, how do I help you grow your business?
I think
grow your business.
Dave, you know what? I'm super grateful that you even presented this opportunity to me to be able to sit here and share the things that I'm passionate about. I think you're doing it right now just by being able to connect with the people, your audience, the people that you have the greatest influence on as well too. I'd love to be on again at any point in time. You have my utmost permission, bro, to reach out to me and say, hey, Rob, you want to jump on this week? You want to talk about this? Whatever it is you want to talk about, I'm totally game. Because here's what I know is that the stuff that I'm teaching is only for a specific group of people who are ready to hear it. And that's what I've come to the realization, man. I'm not here to convert 100% audience. I'm here to convert the people and support the people and encourage the people who are ready to have a different and bigger life. And not everyone is ready to do that. Not everyone is sick and tired of being sick and tired. So those people, yeah, right. Hey, listen, man, you and me both, right? We want life to be so much more different. So I think by you doing this, man, is incredible help and support. So thank you again, my friend. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you again for coming on. I just want to promo a little bit for next week. We have a good friend of mine, David Radney, coming on, who is a great scripts guy, founder and head coach at Push. David Radney works with a lot of is a Keller Williams coach, Maps coach, everything else, and he's such a great guy. He's from New Jersey, and he'll be on talking with us next week. So we're looking forward to that. And anybody who wants to get in touch with Robert, his information is scrolling on the bottom. There's his Instagram up there. And last but not least, Robert, I know, one of the things you researched, you realized that the hat, you had to have the hat when you came on the broadcast. I'm so happy to have the hat match my shirt today, just about. But we've got new ones coming out. And I'm looking forward to collaborating with you in the future. This was an amazing broadcast. Anybody who is interested in finding out more about Robert, enough stuff's there for me, modernagentexperience.com. And Robert, if you just stay on just as we go off, just a couple of things after we're done. Hey, everybody, thank you so much. We'll see you next week with David Radney. Nelson, hit it.